The third and final race of the weekend in the F4 Spanish Championship 2024. Round 6 from the Circuito de Jerez, Angel Nito, in a brilliant battle for the title. 4 races left of the championship, 3 next time out at Barcelona. The third and final race of the weekend here today at the Jerez de la Frontera. Circuito de Jerez, Angel Nito, and it's already been 2 very exciting races leading up to this point. We've had a victory for Keanu Alazari this morning, followed by preceded by, I should say, a win from Mattia Colnaghi yesterday. Now in the third and final race of the weekend, it'll be an interesting one to see who comes through at the top spot. And Mattia Colnaghi has a second pole position of the weekend. It'll be fascinating to see what he can do from there. Thomas Strauben second on the starting grid. Keanu Alazari all the way down in P6 on the grid for this one. Hi everybody, Jake Sanson here in the commentary box. Alex Garcia is down on the start-finish straight, ready to grab a little bit of insight into the build-up here on the third and final of our 3 F4 Spanish Championship races. It's similar conditions now to what we saw in yesterday's race, and Alex Garcia has found one of the mastermen behind MP Motorsport's title attack.
Yes, Jake, exactly. We're here on the grid, ready for the start of the last race of the weekend. And who better to talk to than Sander Endorsement from MP Motorsport. Sander, thank you very much for your time to spend with us here. And I have to ask you, what a situation that you have for your team, not only in the fight for the championship, but also because technically the title stays with you, be it with one team or the other. What a moment, eh?
Yeah, it's a bit a weird situation that we never experienced before, that 2 of our entries are fighting each other, but it's nice, and yeah, probably that goes down to the wire in Barcelona, but at least it's a bit more relaxed to watch than if it's with somebody else.
And how do you manage this situation with the 2 teams fighting each other, but especially with one driver from each side vying for the title?
Yeah, exactly. I think, to be honest, it's more the latter part. We have 3 drivers that can still theoretically become champion. And of course, we need to manage it. And of course, it's in our DNA to let them race amongst themselves. And we do not want to interfere, but also, of course, we want to have a clean fight to collect the points for us as well.
And it's also a learning experience for these drivers, because they know that at least until they get to Formula 1, that's the norm. Even if you have a teammate, they're not going to give you any space.
No, exactly. Of course, you're racing for yourself, and we also need to give them that space. Of course, the only thing we ask is to keep it clean, and that's it.
Any special advice that you've given these guys for that?
No, not so much. We just let them go with the flow, and of course, we need a good start and take it from there.
Thank you very much, Sander, and good luck for the race. So I think that's pretty clear from what the point of view from MP Motorsport is, which is, of course, let them fight, but you know, let's keep it tidy, let's keep it neat, let's keep it sensible, and let's make sure that that nobody has any bad situation coming into the first corner, which is, of course, the biggest risk, I think, in this kind of situation for the team.
Certainly is, when you've got so many competitive drivers who all want to be at the top step of the podium. It's getting quite hot down there by the look of it, Alex. What do you think is going to be the main factor in terms of tyre degradation? There's not going to be many drivers who have got a fresh set of tyres at their disposal at this late stage of the weekend.
Exactly, that is the biggest challenge. It's not only very, very hot, but most drivers are using used tyres. So that means that for the most part, the tyre management is going to be a factor here. And I don't mean by tyre management the tyre management that they can do from now on, but also the one that they've done so far. Because if you manage to keep a fresh set of tyres, maybe you have those 5 or 6 extra laps of tyre life that could be decisive for the end result of the race.
Well, it's going to be an interesting one. Thank you for your insight, Alex. We will check in with you over the course of the race. Hopefully not too many times. It depends on how exciting it gets, I guess.
We're hoping that it's not too many times, but if it's necessary, of course, we'll be there.
Gracias, Alex. Right, let's head to the formation lap then. The drivers are going around on their formation lap, and it's Mattia Colnaghi and Thomas Strauben who will be starting this race from the front row of the starting grid. KSCL MP versus Rodin. Then Juan Cota and Jan Piotrowski, Griffin Peebles and Maciej Gladish P6. It's actually Keanu Alazari down in P7 of the grid, ahead of Ernesto de Vera. Then James Zagozzi and Lucas Flusha. Nathan Ty is alongside the Brazilian Gabriel Gomez, although racing under an Italian license. Andres Cardenas back to 13th alongside Ariel Elkin. Then Lenny Reed and Christopher Elfagali. Luis Fernandez and Adam Alazari from Peter Bucinelos and Matas Schreiber. Francisco Macedo and Enzo Tarmanichko really struggling this weekend, as to his Renny Lammers behind Lorenzo Castillo. Then Jovan David, another bad qualifying from Christian Cantu, Adam Hideg and Tim Gerhardt, Maxi Restrepo and Victor Dobzhansky. Then behind them, it is Filippo Fiorentino, Alexander Jacobi 32nd from Lorenzo Campos, and Joan Ciconti. So as the competitors are gearing themselves up for another exciting encounter, it's going to be a really tricky situation for all of the contenders. But it will be a really exciting battle out on the course for everybody as they... But it will be a really tricky race battle now because Gianni Malazzari's got to try and make up some progress from 7th on the grid. With the points he gained earlier on, he has got a little bit more of a cushion, but of course, with Matti Kolnagi on pole position, looking good at 25 points in this 30 minutes plus 1 lap race, and Gianni Malazzari currently looking at 7th position, he's got to make progress, otherwise he's only taking 6 points from this race, while Matti Kolnagi is taking 25, and that is really going to reduce the points gap before we get to the season finale at Catalunya. It'll be a really tricky race battle if it continues to progress in this bout. So it'll be really, really difficult to see how it all progresses from here. But we're interested to see how it's going to progress and how we're going to continue the battles out on the course. We'll have to see how it all plays out, but it's definitely going to be an interesting situation for all of the contenders as we are once again ready for an exciting battle out on the course. So, Mattia Kolnagi, Thomas Strauben, Juan Cota, Jan Paszkowski, Griffin Peebles, Maciej Gladish, Chiara Malazzari, Ernesto Rivera, James Zigotzi, and Lucas Flusha in the top 10. And this time the top 10 do actually score points because it is going to be a 30 minutes plus 1 lap bout. Final couple of cars come into position at the back end of the grid. It's all eyes on Matti Kolnagi on the pole position at the front end of the grid. The green flag flies at the back of the field. The lights are going to come on, and we're ready for racing for the 3rd and final time. Let's race at Jerez! And it's a great start, but not for 2 cars off the grid. It looks like Paszkowski and Gladish. Paszkowski and I think Rivera have both... Oh, there's contact into the barriers. 2 or 3 cars come together. It's going to be a red flag. Surely the race is going to be stopped now. Well... There's going to be big damage on the main straight, and that is disastrous, as up in the lead, Matti Kolnagi from Strauben and Cota, but surely there's going to be at least a safety car, if not a red flag. Red flag is called instantly. Red flag. Well, that was pretty much inevitable. We need to kind of look back and see who it was that got caught up in that incident at the start. But certainly there was at least 3 cars involved because we had 2 cars not moving. I think it was Jan Paszkowski and Ernesto Rivera. So already some difficulties. But it's going to be a tricky one now as the contenders are gearing themselves up for a really difficult restart. So they're going to have to clear this pretty quickly. So it's going to be an interesting one. So now it will be a very tricky situation for all of the contenders to get themselves geared up, ready for the restart. Everybody that is still circulating, of course, will have to try and make their way back to the start-finish straight again. They'll line up once again. How long a delay we're going to have is obviously going to be quite an important one. But hopefully it's not going to be too long a delay. If we can have just a few minutes before we can grid up again, then that's obviously going to be beneficial, but it looked like a fairly sizable accident on the main straight. So Alex Garcia is obviously going to be down there to be able to try and unravel a little bit of what has happened and who is involved, of course, because everybody's going to come back into the pits by the look of it. So the first lap was not completed, but obviously all the debris is down there on the start-finish straight. Alex, what can you tell us?
Hi Jake, so basically we are making a quick report to mention that of course everyone is coming back into the pit, but most importantly, both drivers that were involved in the crash that were standing here in the grid or in the main straight are off the machines safely, no problem physically for them, so that is the most important. But for now, as you can see, cars are starting to come back into the pit lane, they're starting to stop in front of the pit exit, so we'll be looking exactly to see what the delay will be, and we'll be reporting once we have more information on that.
Okay, thank you, Alex. We're just trying to keep an eye on who it was that was involved in the incident. It's going to be an interesting one as we now...
Yeah, we have Maciej Gladish, that was the car that got stopped on the grid, and then there were other cars involved from behind. But that was the main cause of the incident, which we saw actually right in front of us.
Okay, so some concerns then for Maciej Gladish in terms of championship aspirations, but at least he is okay and out of the car. I saw a couple of drivers down there in pit lane. I want to say that one of them might have been Maxi Restrepo, the Santalok driver. I'm not sure if he came through or not, but we'll double check and we'll confirm which drivers it is. All of the drivers, I guess, involved in that incident, because there were two cars that initially stopped on the grid. I want to say it was Gladish and Rivera, but I think Rivera did actually end up moving. No, it might have been Lucas Fluscher actually, but Lucas Fluscher did actually get going again. So yeah, a bit of a disastrous start to the race for everybody, and of course that adds to the weight of pressure and the tension for the drivers for their restart.
That is the worst moment for all these drivers, because as we mentioned before in some other events during the season, they have to build that tension, that competitive tension. They have to stop now, but you know, when you stop, of course, there's a certain relaxation in your body, and you have to keep your mind focused, and you have to be able to jump right into racing mode as soon as they tell you, you know, we're relaunching the race. So for most drivers, this is a tricky thing to do. But also, you know, considering that we mentioned this often, Jake, this is also a learning experience, and for most of them, this will not have been a common thing throughout their career so far. So it's something to learn from, and I'm sure that they will make good use of this for the future.
Okay, Alex, well, I know that you've obviously got to do your reporting duties for the F4 Spanish Championships Spanish language feed, so I'll let you go do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So some interesting scenes here at Circuito de Jerez, as we've had an accident on the first attempted start of race 3, involving a couple of different drivers in the mix. We'll try and give you some updates as and when it becomes appropriate and available to do so. But we certainly had a big incident off the start, and a couple of drivers basically not able to get involved. It looks to me as though we are going to be starting from the original grid positions. It's going to be a fresh restart from what I gather. Essentially, we're waiting on clearance for a replay of the crash. Obviously, the reason that there is a delay in the replay is because there has to be a safety protocol gathered first of all. If there's any doubt about the condition of a driver, then we don't show the replay immediately. You have to obviously respect the fact that it's not just you guys, the viewers, that are watching Grand Prix racing and single-seater racing at this level. We've also got families who are watching along at home, and it's very important that we are respectful of their emotions, of their privacies, of their concerns. And of course, when you're dealing with teenagers, as we've all got in the Spanish F4 Championship, there is a bit of a duty of care that you have to take into consideration. So before you all start screaming for replay, please replay, you do have to remember that the duty of care is actually quite an important aspect in the organising of not just the races, but also the broadcasts of these things. The start will be behind the safety car at 4:25. So that is in exactly 11 minutes' time. So it's going to be an interesting one. And I think starting behind the safety car is actually the right call, because it means that, okay, we're not going to get the double stack start, but they're running out of daylight here, obviously, because it's October in Spain. It's going to get dark relatively quickly once we get to about 5 o'clock. So it's better to just run through the half-hour race and the extra lap, and then try and complete the full race distance. So we'll start behind the safety car, which means that when the safety car pulls off, it's going to be in the start of the race. So the safety car leaving the pits is going to be the start of the race, but it's going to be behind safety car. Now, I'm not entirely sure whether that means then that we're going to be starting with a completely fresh grid or not, but they are allowed to start behind the safety car if they choose to do so, even if the first lap has not been completed. It's within the regulations to do that. So before anybody starts crying, well, are they going to try and pull a Michael Masi here? Well, it's not quite as clear cut as that. It's certainly within the power of the regulations and the race control to choose to restart the race behind the safety car. Clearly, they are a little concerned about the excitement factor and the adrenaline factor of 2x2 heading to the first corner in the third race. There's always going to be a little bit more eagerness to charge forward in race 3 than there would be in races 1 and 2, for example. So I think it's quite important to remember that you've obviously got that element of it is quite a significant factor in the decision-making progress. So we're under red flags here, and for the right reason, I think. When there's been a start line accident of that ilk, it's obviously going to be a pretty difficult one. So, Okay, so there is set to be a replay very, very shortly. So let's see if we can have a look at the incident very shortly. We obviously just need to make sure that everything is okay off the restart. So we should be seeing a replay of the incident very shortly. Apologies, obviously, for not keeping the flow completely, but obviously there's a lot of different things going on at the same time, and we obviously have to make sure that everybody's okay. And I obviously have to make sure that you get the right messages at the right time. What we know, of course, is what Race Control have just told us, and they put it on the screen there, that the start will be behind the safety car at 4:25 local time. That is to be confirmed, of course, but it looks as though that's the way it's going to be. And you can see now that the mechanics are actually working hard to make sure that the cars are in the correct positions as instructed by the officials. So there are going to be a couple of cars that will be put back into position. Of course, there's going to be a few absentees from the start because of the damage that they will have sustained in the accident. But we're waiting official confirmation. But if it is Maciej Gladish that is involved in the incident, well, it's certainly a Santalock that's involved in one of the cars behind. Now, there's only a few drivers for Santalock, so that's either going to be Maxi Restrepo, Ivan David, or Ariel Elkin. So 2 cars already involved in that one of them being a Santalock. They're just regridding. They're going to put Keanu Alazzari back into his correct grid position, which should be 7th on the grid, but they're going to do it by single file formation behind the safety car. So it's quite important that they obviously make sure that the drivers are there. Right, that is Jan Piotrowski. So it wasn't him involved in the incident. We know that much because his car is still there in the line. Oh, and that is Maciej Gladish's car in pit lane. So it wasn't Gladish that was involved in the incident. So that's why we didn't want to rush for the replay, because we don't want to confirm the identity of a driver when it's not them that's involved in the incident. So it wasn't Piotrowski or Maciej Gladish involved in the incident. So both of them are okay. And both of them are going to be able to take the restart by the look of it, because both of them have got completely good racing cars to go racing. So while it's unfortunate that it's a driver or two that's been involved in an incident there, at least we know that the drivers we assumed it was initially, Jan Piotrowski or Maciej Gladish, were not involved in the incident. So the Polish fans can breathe a sigh of relief, because they can go racing again. Now, we are told it was Christian Cantu, Maxi Restrepo, and it was Ernesto Rivera. So Ernesto Rivera, the Mexican, who was due to start 10th on the grid, he has unfortunately not been away from the incident. So Rivera, the car hit anti-stall, and Christian Cantu and Maxi Restrepo, the Mexican and the Colombian, had nowhere to go but into their Mexican colleague. So very unfortunate indeed, but it's Ernesto Rivera of the Griffin Core by Campos team, along with Christian Cantu of the TC Racing team. That's the Thibaut Courtois Racing team. And the Santalock driver is indeed Maxi Restrepo. I assumed it probably was one of the competitors involved in that particular scenario. But yes, unfortunately, it is game over. Now, the race time has been reduced by 2 minutes. So 2 minutes shorter the race will be now as well. So that's obviously going to give us a little bit less time. So it's going to be a very tricky one for all of the contenders. James Zigotzi getting ready for the restart, shaking his head there. We've still got about 5 minutes before the race is due to restart behind the safety car. I mean, it says TBC, but I think everybody's pretty much geared up and committed to the fact that we're going to be restarting behind the safety car at 16:25 local time. The race distance has been reduced from 30 minutes to 28 minutes plus the additional lap. So obviously that is going to give us a little bit more time. And that is, of course, as well because of the daylight. So it's important to take into account the fact that it gets dark here pretty quickly in Spain because at this time of the year it gets dark fairly rapidly. And we have had it confirmed from the F4 Spanish Championship administration that all drivers are okay. So that is really good news. So Maxi Restrepo, Christian Cantu and Ernesto Rivera are not hurt in the incident. It's an unfortunate one, but obviously all the drivers that were involved in the incident are now reported to officially be okay. They have all been cleared by the doctors, so that is good news. It looked pretty nasty, and it's never easy when a car is stationary on the start line and then a car is desperately trying to avoid it. And you would think it was pretty easy to avoid a stationary car, but actually when you've got 32 other cars in the mix that you're racing with and you're focusing on your upshifts, you're focusing on your tire temperatures, you're focusing on your wheel spin, it's really, really easy to misjudge where the car is being placed. So I wouldn't mock these guys for crashing into the back of a stationary car. I certainly couldn't do any better myself. So that is Lenny Reeds being wheeled out of position and making way for the number 12 car. So that is the car belonging to Adam Al-Azadi. That's for the Technicar team. That is Keanu's younger brother, of course. So the drivers are just getting themselves into their positions, ready for a couple of exciting challenges towards the tail end of the field. But we have this race and we have obviously a championship situation to then discuss afterwards. So it's going to be a really interesting time for all of the competitors. So it's going to be an interesting one. All drivers are confirmed to be okay, which is the main thing. So let's see how everybody is prepared for another exciting duel out on the course then as the safety car prepares to lead them around. We're still waiting on the replay. We are told that it is just being double checked and confirmed because apparently it's being looked at by the officials. Because obviously they also look into investigations on the start and things like this using the race footage. When we have a replay for you, we will make sure you see it. But obviously, we have to make sure that it's appropriate for you to see it. That is Francisco Macedo being wheeled into position, the DXR car, and he's obviously going to be wheeled back into his original starting position. Only 3 cars will be absent from this restart. That is going to be Ernesto Rivera. It's also going to be Christian Cantu, and also it'll be Maxi Restrepo. All the other 31 competitors in the field are going to be starting this race again. So obviously a few tensions and a couple of moments of drivers being just a little bit cautious about the situation, but at least everybody is going to be able to start in the correct position and also hopefully in the correct mindset as well, because you have to make sure that you're in the correct position. Start behind safety car at 4:28 confirmed, so that's in 4 minutes time. So it's going to be an interesting one for all of the competitors as they gear up ready for the restart. Adam Al-Azadi just being encouraged there by his engineer for the Technicar team. Interesting how Adam Al-Azadi and his brother Keanu are in different teams. There is the British driver Chase Fernandez getting his first taste of F4 racing, having been runner-up in this year's Ginetta Junior Championship, working his way all the way up from the Houghton Park IndyCart Championship, which is the clubbiest of the club races in the world of British motorsport. Fascinating to see how the guys are all getting themselves ready for another exciting duel out there on the course. But it really is going to be a sensational opportunity to watch these guys putting in such an amazing show. We're going to see some really great racing from everybody as they continue to battle forward. So there is one of the MP drivers, that is René Lammers. You can tell it's René Lammers because his nose cone is completely different to everybody else's in the team, as the nose cone section carries the black and white stripes of the Racing Team Netherlands squad that his father raced for in the Le Mans 24 Hours and in various other competitions over the years. So great to see him continuing to put on such a great display. It'll be interesting as the contenders continue to put on a good race of it. The mechanics just... right, here's the replay. Now we can see 2 cars there not moving. So obviously drivers are working their way around everybody, trying to avoid, but unfortunately 2 cars went in. Christian Cantu and Maxi Restrepo. Very tough to get out of the way of Ernesto Rivera's car. Red flags instantly, of course, called. And there is Christian Cantu, I think. Or is that Ernesto Rivera? I think it might have been Ernesto Rivera, actually. having his moment out there on the course and having a big moment. So obviously red flags, and it's definitely going to be an interesting one for all of the contenders on the restart. Looking forward to seeing what will happen. Oh, start behind safety car at 4:29 confirmed. So they've had another minute delay that they decided to add on once again. Well, you do kind of wonder if they say the word confirmed, surely that should mean confirmed, rather than, well, we're going to put another delay on it of another minute. Just saying. I think the word confirmed means confirmed, doesn't it? But apparently not on this particular occasion. So we'll have to see if this confirmation actually does mean confirmed, but we'll see. That's the Technicar of Adam Alazari, getting himself ready for the restart once again, as the cars are getting ready for their restart. It's going to be single file formation behind the safety car. That's what a completely clean front wing looks like, without any damage or any blemish. As we currently look in on the number 35, that is the car of Adam Hideg of the Kram Motorsport team, the Hungarian, who is currently there tucked in behind the Santalok. That, I believe, is Ivan David's car, the Sri Lankan, known as the Bat. And obviously, the Bat will rise is the slogan that he races with. So it's going to be really interesting to see if the Bat will indeed rise over the course of the next few minutes. I'll be very intrigued to see if that's going to be the case. It'll be a tough one to predict. But certainly our competitors are gearing up for an exciting showcase as the racers are ready for another exciting spectacle for the Spanish F4 Championship. Are we going to get to see the 28 minutes play out without too much drama or incident? I would think hopefully with the safety car out on the course to lead them away. The grid is now cleared, or the pit lane is now cleared, I should say, and the drivers are going to be sent out on their way in single file formation on this restart. It's going to be absolutely fantastic when they do, because then we're going to be in a position to move forward with the rest of the race battles out on the course. So the contenders are ready for the restart, 28 minutes plus the additional lap. So we're going to see a really tough race of it as everybody is gearing up for a good battle out on the course now. Expect the unexpected from the Spanish F4, the third race of the weekend. There's always going to be the unexpected with this particular championship, of course. You get all sorts of battles in the last part of the day's race action. So I think we'll see a few more dramas as the competition is going to step up another gear. Here we go, the start behind the safety car. Now you'll notice that the timer has started to tick down. We are actually under race conditions now. So this is the lap behind the safety car to kickstart us. So everybody is getting moving. Hopefully everybody's getting moving. Is that going to be Adam Alazari joining in at the back? I think it is. Or certainly joining in a few places lower than he was supposed to. So not exactly the restart he would have bargained for. So that is a difficult scenario for all of the contenders at this point in proceedings. So everybody getting themselves into gear, ready for this restart. Already we've had a minute behind the safety car, so that's obviously going to reduce the number of racing laps that we've got out there on the course, but obviously we're going to have some good racing from everybody regardless. So there'll be more great race action to discuss and to talk about at the top end of the dais when we get Matej Kolnagi away under green flag conditions. It'll be an interesting one because obviously everybody's gearing up for an exciting race battle. 27 minutes plus the additional lap, and we are going to have a really exciting challenge from the competitors out on the course. I expect to see some really enticing battles now, particularly from Chiano Alazari, of course, starting from 7th on the grid. Expect him to push forward and try and go for as many positions gained as he possibly can. It'll be Kolnagi, Stralvan, Kota, and then Petrovski from Griffin Peebles and Maciej Gladish. Chiano Alazari down in 7th, then James Igotzi from Lucas Flusha, and then Nathan Tai, Gabriel Gomez, Andres Cardenas, Ariel Elkin, and Lenny Reed from Chris Elfagali. And then Chase Fernandez, the British driver, 16th from Adam Alazari, Peter Buzinelos, Matas Reiber, Francisco Macedo in 20th. Then it will be Enzo Tarvanichko from Lorenzo Castillo, René Lammers, Ivan David, Adam Hideg, Tim Gerhards, Victor Dobrzansky, and Filippo Fiorentino. So some tough challenges from the competitors further back. And now the safety car is getting ready to peel off after just one solitary lap. So we are going to go racing this time by. It's going to be an intriguing one as everybody is determined. So let's see if Mattia Colnaghi can make it 2 wins out of 3. He got a win yesterday. Gianni Baldassarri took victory in the race this morning. But this is all on Mattia Colnaghi now to try and get this gap down a bit. The gap was steady at 22 points after race 2. Now it's going to be an interesting one to see how things gear up for race 3. Mattia Colnaghi is waiting to drop the hammer. I think he might have done it now. Yes, he has gone for the restart now, so off we go. And Thomas Straven is going to chase him as they work their way through the final hairpin and onto the main straight. Expect some drama and some battles from Spanish F4 as we restart. We are green here at Circuito de Jerez. And it's Mattia Colnaghi in front of Thomas Straven, Juan Cota, then Bashrovsky, Peebles, Gladish, Alazadi, Egozzi, Flusha and Tai. And side by side, that is already a challenge from Griffin Peebles. Oh, and up on the air, into the gravel trap goes Griffin Peebles. He tried his best to go around the outside of Mathieu Gladish. Gladish had already got him on the inside line, and now they're more wheel to wheel. Gianni Baldassarri has got someone to his left side. That is going to be Mathieu Gladish going wheel to wheel with Gianni Baldassarri, I do believe. And that's Bashrovsky, Alazadi and Gladish. So Gianni Baldassarri is already up to P5. He's got past his championship rival Mathieu Gladish. Now he's going after Jan Bashrovsky. So Gianni Baldassarri is already making big inroads up the order as he tries to charge his way forward. Here comes James Egozzi trying to take on Gladish. Alazadi trying to defend from both men, and have a look at Bashrovsky in the same breath. Gladish bends off James Egozzi and holds the position for the time being. Excellent stuff. Lucia now in 8th place. Griffin Peebles down to 9th, the Australian, and Gabriel Gomez, the Brazilian, is in P10 at the moment. So an excellent start to proceedings as we continue through the course of the race here in Spanish F4 at Circuito de Jerez. Colnaghi leads, Straven second, Cota is third, then it's Bashrovsky, Alazadi, Gladish, Egozzi, Lucia, Peebles and Gomez. So already some of the pressure has been dissipated by Gianni Baldassarri. He's already made up 2 positions, and that's going to put him on 10 points. Colnaghi is going to be on 25, so he's going to lose 15 points to his Italian rival, but he will still lead the championship going to the Circuit de Catalunya in November. So this is a damage limitation exercise for Gianni Baldassarri. He knew it was going to be a tough one starting back in the field, but he's also prepared for it, and he has definitely set his standards in correspondence with it. Side by side further back in the field, several drivers trying to go for moves as Egozzi tries to get well clear of Lucas Flusha, who is right behind him. Then Griffin Peebles in 9th position in the MP car. And there's a great squabble over 10th place. It's the Thibaut Courtois racing car of Gabriel Gomez. You're probably wondering why on earth I'm talking about footballers. Well, Thibaut Courtois is actually the named member of the team who owns the team of that particular squad. So Thibaut Courtois racing, Mattia Colnaghi, Thomas Straven, Juan Cota, Jan Bashrovsky, Gianni Baldassarri. That's your top 5. Then Gladish, Egozzi, Flusha, Peebles and Gomez. Here's the move on the inside from Gianni Baldassarri! Diving for the inside of the move on Mathieu Gladish. He has to leave him space, but Gladish holds his position. Sorry, it's Bashrovsky he's battling with. My apologies, it's Gladish who's behind him. So it's Jan Bashrovsky in P4. Gianni Baldassarri trying to get past Bashrovsky. Bashrovsky still a rookie driver, don't forget. Last year, he was a European champion in the junior category. An opportunity for Jan Bashrovsky to continue to make solid work of things. He continues working his way forward. Well, they battle on. In fact, actually, Jan Bashrovsky was the junior European champion of 2022. Raced in the senior category last year. This is his first season in car racing. Here he is ahead of Gianni Baldassarri, fighting with the championship leader. So Mattia Colnaghi's now trying to stretch away a little bit here from Thomas Straven. The 3rd lap completed. He's done a 1:44.292 compared to Juan Cota, the leading rookie, who's done a 1:44. The leading pro driver, I should say, or experienced driver, 1:44.548. Colnaghi is the leading rookie, and he's also the fastest man on track, 1:44.292. So excellent work so far from Mattia Colnaghi, and he has stretched out a gap of 1.4 seconds already on Thomas Strauben. Really impressive stuff. So Kolnagi, Strauben, Kota, Bashrovsky, Alazadi and Maciej Gladish. Then James Zagotzi in front of Lucas Flusha, Griffin Peebles and Gabriel Gomez. Here comes a charge potentially from Juan Kota down the back of the straight. He jinks out behind the rear wing of Thomas Strauben, maybe trying to force the Belgian to make a mistake. Strauben is not going to do that particularly easily. When it's going good for Thomas Strauben, it goes very well indeed. Unfortunately, when it goes bad, it's horrid. So are we going to see a replay? Now this is Juan Kota in behind Strauben. Well, I thought we were going to see a replay. I'm certainly trying to show you a replay of something, but I don't think we're going to get to see it, unfortunately. So Kota behind Strauben. Bashrovsky still hanging on to fourth place from Piano Alazadi. Then Gladish, Zagotzi, Flusha, Peebles and Gomez. Looks like Chris Elfaghali's had an incident somewhere. The Lebanese driver, Chris Elfaghali, appears to be off the road and out of the race now, or certainly down at the back of the field, if not out of the race. He's had a big off in sector 2 and drops down to 31st of the 31 cars. So I'm afraid the hearts of the Lebanese fans will be plunging to their boots. Very unfortunate indeed. But it looks to me as though poor Chris Elfaghali, who's had a very good opening weekend actually in the championship, has put on a good show and made up a lot of places. But he's now down at the back end of the field. Not sure what's happened to Chris Elfaghali. We certainly haven't seen it on the cameras or the monitors. But looks as though he has dropped back to 31st position. What a shame. Was doing a great job up until that point. Very different track conditions to what we saw in race 2 earlier. 39 degrees Celsius track temperature here with a humidity of 51% and an air temperature of 29 degrees Celsius. Maciej Kolnagi's just disappearing out in the lead. He's got himself a big lead now, 2.4 seconds, and he's just saying goodbye to everybody else. Don't even think about challenging me. I've got this one on a silver plate, thanks very much. So Maciej Kolnagi is going to take a lot of points out of Chiano Alazadi's championship lead. It's looking pretty exciting at the moment. So Maciej Kolnagi leads the way from Thomas Strauben, 2.4 seconds to his deficit. Juan Kota is only 0.4 of a second back from him. Here they come into the right-handers. An interesting challenge to see if these two can still put together enough of a solid string of laps to close up on the race leader at 2.7 with that sort of deficit, and Maciej Kolnagi is lapping at least a tenth, maybe 0.2 of a second quicker than each of the drivers behind him on both sectors. Juan Kota dives into the final hairpin and gets in a second position on Thomas Strauben, but Strauben's going to come straight back at him on the overlap. Can they go side by side all the way down the straight? Looks like they're going to. Strauben is edging him. They bang wheels as they go down to the braking zone. Strauben determined to get back for Juan Kota. Kota is not going to yield, and Juan Kota gets through. Oh my goodness. Juan Kota was totally determined, ruthless, relentless in his bid to get ahead of Thomas Strauben. Enough of this. I'm getting into second place. Come hell or high water, Juan Kota makes the move stick and gets ahead of Thomas Strauben. Great work from Juan Kota. Well, Thomas Strauben is going to be a little bit angry that he let that move happen. Juan Kota able to just commit up the inside of the final hairpin, dive through. They ran side by side. They left each other no space down the straight. How they didn't cannon off each other into the barriers is beyond me. But Kota in second now from Strauben in third, and they both lock up onto the way to the hairpin. Bashrovsky fourth, Alazadi fifth, and Maciej Gladish in sixth position. My goodness me, proper racing in Spanish F4. So Juan Kota now in second place, and it's him who's got the upper hand now on Thomas Strauben. Strauben is doing his best to try and get him back again, but obviously with a maneuver like that, it was always going to be pretty intense. Let's look at it again. So Juan Kota decides enough is enough. Oh, this is the replay of the restart, we should point out. So this is the safety car peeling in and then the start of the race. But hopefully we'll be able to see a few more highlights. This is Griffin Peebles going off into the gravel. Oops, a little bit of contact between the two of them to force the issue. But now you see Juan Kota in front of Thomas Strauben, and I'll be interested to see if that little bump between Griffin Peebles and Maciej Gladish is being investigated. I can tell you that Race Control haven't even noted the contact between the two drivers. It's not even come up on Race Control. So they must have just deemed it to be a racing incident then. So Griffin Peebles has recovered and obviously rejoined in ninth place. They clearly felt that there's nothing even to discuss between Gladish and Peebles there. So back into the race battle we go. Jan Bashrovsky there in the white and black Campos, which is obviously the Griffin core by Campos team. Interesting, they have so many drivers within the MP and Campos folds that they actually had to create a satellite team to accommodate all the drivers, because you're only allowed a certain number of drivers in one team in the F4 Spanish Championship. So they've created a satellite team, which of course does not count the championship points to the main team. What's really funny is that a couple of the drivers from the satellite team have actually ended up doing better this season than the main team. Certainly that's the case with Mattia Kolnagi. He is in the KCL team by MP, and he's actually doing fractionally better than his teammates Griffin Peebles and René Lammers in the championship, of course. He's in second place in the championship. This man is leading it though, Chiano Alazzardi in the number 14, the proper MP Motorsport colours, the orange and black machine. Fifth place will do, but he wants a bit more than that. And now that he's seen Juan Cota go for the overtake, he'll probably think, well, I can do that. Saw how well earlier this season he was able to battle his way through from a lowly midfield position to get himself right into the points and do a good job to move his way further forward. So let's see if he can continue. If you're just joining us, we've got 14 minutes and 20 seconds roughly, plus the additional lap left of the third and final race of the F4 Spanish Championship. Lock up into turn one there from Juan Cota. As we go into the 8th lap, Jake Sanson here on the commentary box and Alex Garcia down in pit lane. Interestingly, the incident between Cota and Strauven on the main start-finish straight will be investigated after the race has finished. Well, they clearly feel that was a little bit too close for comfort. Fascinating, absolutely fascinating stuff. So let's see again. This is Cota making the dive up the inside for the second position move. Nothing wrong with that overtake. Perfectly textbook. Then Strauven comes back at him on the exit. They go down the straight. They get closer, closer, closer. Ready, wait for it. And bang, they rub wheels. They manage to separate from each other. But Strauven is fractionally ahead, and Cota then makes the dive on the inside line to finish the move for second place. So the officials are going to look at that after the race, apparently. Meanwhile, the 4th place battle, Jan Bashrovsky and Chiano Alazzardi dueling away for B4. Still a really close battle between these two competitors as they continue to race for glory. Kolnagi, Cota, then Strauven, Bashrovsky, Alazzardi and Gladish. And it really is that close between the 4 of them. Then Igotzi, 7th place, the Red Bull Junior. Then Lucas Splusha, the man who was so strong in the opening round of the season. Then Griffin Peebles and Gabriel Gomez with the TC Racing team, named in honour of the team's founder, Thibaut Courtois, the former Belgian football international. So across the line and down the straight. Juan Cota in second, trying to chase down Mattia Kolnagi, but the gap is 4.7 seconds with 12.5 minutes still to run. Really exciting stuff here at this point of the race. So Mattia Kolnagi in front of Juan Cota, then Thomas Strauven, Jan Bashrovsky, Chiano Alazzardi, Mattia Gladish and James Igotzi. From Lucas Splusha, Griffin Peebles and Gabriel Gomez, Nathan Tai and Andres Cardenas in 12th, ahead of Ariel Elkin, who's doing a fair job. Then Adam Alazzardi and Chase Fernandez, the British driver, not too far away from the top 10. Peter Buzinelos, Enzo Tarvanichkul, Lenny Reed, Mattis Reiber and René Lammers. Then Yevan David in front of Francisco Macedo, Adam Hideg, Tim Gerhardt, Lorenzo Castillo, Victor Dobshansky, Filippo Fiorentino and Alex Jacobi. Then we have Lorenzo Campos, Joan Chigonti and Chris Elfagali, who is coming through. According to my timing monitor, he is a lap down. So not good news for Chris Elfagali. He is still circulating. He's going to get to the finish of the race by the look of things, but he has only just come through at the end of the 3rd sector. So very much game over then for Chris Elfagali's run for points. Just a whisker over 11 minutes to go, plus the additional battle behind and the additional lap, of course, that's added on when the time runs down to 0. So Mattia Kolnagi in front of Juan Cota, then Thomas Strauven, Jan Bashrovsky, Chiano Alazzardi and Mattia Gladish. James Igotzi 7th from Lucas Splusha, Griffin Peebles and Gabriel Gomez, then Nathan Tai, Andres Cardenas and Ariel Elkin from Adam Alazari and Chase Fernandez. Peter Buzinelos, Enzo Tarbanichkul, then Lenny Reed, Matas Reiber and René Lammers. Ivan David, 21st position from Francisco Macedo, Adam Hideg, and then Tim Gerhards. Theo, Gomshansky, Donantino, Jacobi, and then Campos Conti and El Fagali, who is still circulating, albeit now a lap down from the rest of the field. So is there going to be another charge here from Pestrovsky? Because obviously Juan Cota having now got through, look at how quickly he's pulled away from Thomas Strauben. 2.3 seconds he's managed to gap him in the last few laps. So it's clear that Thomas Strauben just doesn't have the same pace that the drivers behind him do. Matti Kolnagi's done a 1:43.7 of a best lap. Juan Cota's done a 1:44.1. Thomas Strauben's done a 1:44.5. And that is slower than Pestrovsky, Alazari, Gladish, Igotzi, Lucia, and Peebles behind him. And even Gabriel Gomez has gone quicker than that by a couple of hundredths of a second. So all the pressure is mounted on Thomas Strauben at this point. It's not easy for him to run in third position in this race with all the pressure that's building behind him. Not an easy scenario at all. So now we're going to have to see if Matti Kolnagi, stretching away from Juan Cota, is going to be challenged at all in terms of the championship fight by Chiano Alazari, who finds himself down in 5th position behind Pestrovsky, behind Thomas Strauben, who is holding the field up here. So Thomas Strauben currently running in 3rd position. 2.8 seconds he's lost to Juan Cota. I think the gap might be even bigger than that when he comes across the line this time. It was 2.8, it's 2.9, so he's losing a good 1/10 to 2/10 of a second per sector to his rival. So Jan Pestrovsky is now going to be sitting there thinking, well, come on, man, if you're not going to go fast enough, get out of the way. So Pestrovsky sat there in 4th position, wanting a podium finished. Chiano Alazari behind both of them thinking, that's it, boys. You snuggle up to each other, you go for a bit of a battle, collide with each other, and I'll zip through for 3rd place, thank you very much. But I don't think motor racing is quite as clear-cut as that. Drivers still pushing very hard. This is what all the hours of training on their simulator rigs at home on the iRacing FIA F4 car would have been building up to. And I know they'll all have done several hours on it. Chiano Alazari, big tag slammer on the inside of Pestrovsky, goes for it on the inside. They bang wheels, and somehow they do not crash into each other. Oh my goodness, that was a champion's dive. And Chiano Alazari almost went into the side of Jan Pestrovsky, but that gives you the indication of how impatient the boy from Dubai is getting. Come on, man, get past Thomas Strauben, or I'll do it for you. Great racing. Chiano Alazari determined to win this year's Spanish F4 Championship, and he will do whatever it takes. Absolutely brilliant. You almost got that done. But Chiano Alazari determined to go for it. Some of you may have thought, well, why did I go berserk on that? But you've got to remember that that's the championship leader making a big dive on a fellow driver that he's not racing with for the championship. If that had gone wrong, then Alazari would have been in the drink with Kolnagi on 25 points. He's taking big risks that he necessarily doesn't have to take. But that's how determined Chiano Alazari is to scrape every point he can from every race left this season. But I have to say, full credit to Jan Pestrovsky. He didn't do anything he didn't have to there. He didn't concede, he didn't back out of the corner. He just allowed Chiano Alazari to sit on the inside line and say, well, come on then. You're going to get me? You're going to overtake me? Come on, do it properly. Jan Pestrovsky, of course, a former stablemate of Chiano Alazari. They were both at the Tony Kart factory team in their karting days. And have both, of course, stepped up into the world of car racing. One for Campos, one for MB. Notice the lack of the big dive on this lap from Chiano Alazari. He's got to work his magic back to get it done again. Wow, this is tricky watching this in the commentary box, knowing how determined a racer Chiano Alazari is. That could have been a monstrous overtake. But good work from Jan Pestrovsky to hold him at bay for the moment. And Maciej Gladish sat in 6th position, would have been watching that with a little cheeky grin as well. Well, go on then, Chiano. Is that all you've got? Go and get him again. I'm sure he'll give you the space next time. As Maciej Gladish is determined to get as many points from this race as he can as well. If Al-Azadi goes off, then Gladish is going to pick up some points from him. And of course, it won't be too distant a memory for him last time out in Valencia in the first race when Al-Azadi had that big spin and went spearing into the side of Maciej Gladish's car. Both drivers were out on the spot. And of course, no points for either driver at a critical point of the season. There is your leader though, Mattia Colnaghi, doing everything he can to keep this championship fight alive and kicking going to Barcelona. Zips his way through the left-hander, flat on the throttle. Plenty of pace from the KCL MP team car. As he goes through the right-hander, there's a little bit of slide drift, just a little bit of four-wheel drift, nothing major. But that's perfectly okay from Mattia Colnaghi. There's Juan Cota, second position. Wait another 4 seconds, and you're going to see Thomas Strauben, but we switched to Juan Cota before we look back. Juan Cota, the man who's already had a podium this weekend. Did a great job to come home second yesterday, and he's going to do the same job again today, but 5 seconds deficit to Mattia Colnaghi shows you just how motivated Mattia Colnaghi is in this race today to get away and dominate. Thomas Strauben in the background, 4 seconds back now from Juan Cota, still in this fight for third position. But Jan Piotrowski, Keanu Al-Azadi, Maciej Gladish and James Zagotzi all want it. And we've only got 4.5 minutes left of this race, plus the additional lap, of course, after it. So it's going to be an interesting one. Very intriguing to see who's going to get the benefit, who's going to end up down the order. Down to the braking zone goes Mattia Colnaghi. He's already at the final hairpin. That shows you how big a gap he's got over Juan Cota. Off the road, a little bit of a flirtation with track limits there for Mattia Colnaghi. There's the battle for third still. As we cross the line, there's 4 minutes plus an additional lap to go. A couple of lockups on the brakes as drivers are really pushing it to the ragged edge now. No point sitting on your laurels. It's 4 minutes left of the weekend plus the additional lap. Time to throw caution to the winds and go for it. You never know what you could end up with at the end of a race like this. There's yellow flags. Yellow flags have come out. So clearly somebody has thought the same thing. And it looks as though somebody... Oh, it's 29 that's gone. So that is game over further down the field. So that is Joan Ciconti, the Australian driver, Joan Ciconti in the DXR. Joan Ciconti for DXR has gone off the road, I'm afraid. So it's game over for her. And that could be safety car. It is indeed. So safety car comes out then. And that could well be a finish under safety car, I'm afraid to say. But at the same time, it was obviously always going to be a tricky one. There was always going to be a little bit of argy-bargy with this being an F4 race. So you never know who's been the cause of that, whether Joan Ciconti lost it on her own or whether there was a little bit of assistance to help her get there. But it's a difficult situation, that's for sure. There's the safety car. And so the safety car will obviously catch the drivers as they come through this time by. There is Keanu Al-Azadi, and that's how close to the racetrack Joan Ciconti's beached DXR is, and that's why we're on the safety car. So naturally, that makes total sense. Very understood, the situation that we have there out on the course. So difficult situation for all of the contenders in that one. But obviously the contenders are making a very solid race of it as the battles continue. Safety car, 2 minutes to go. So it's going to be this lap that they're going to lead under the safety car. Now, if they can move Joanna Ciconti's car in time, then we may just get one fast lap in, but that's a big if. I'm not entirely sure if they're going to move Joanna Ciconti's car in time for that one racing lap. The safety car has caught them up. It'll do its best to give us one flying lap at the end, but I'm doubtful. So it's going to be an interesting one, but it will be a very tight end to the race, that's for sure. Mattia Colnaghi from Juan Cota in second, Thomas Strauben in third, then Jan Piotrowski and Keanu Al-Azadi, and I don't know if we're going to get any more racing laps in under our belts than this. But it is obviously going to be a very exciting end to the race as Mattia Kolnagi will run behind the safety car and finish us off, but it is obviously going to be pretty nip and tuck. We've got 50 seconds left on the clock, plus the additional lap after the race time has run down. But it's all going to come down to how quickly the marshals can move Joanne Treconti's car. If they're going to struggle, and she is beached in gravel, don't forget, if they're going to struggle to move her car, then the race will finish under safety car, and it will be a confirmed victory for Mattia Kolnagi. To be fair to him, Juan Cota is actually going to have a job taking the win off Mattia Kolnagi if we do go to green flag conditions again. Is Joanne Treconti's car still there? Doesn't look as though it is. So are we going to get safety car in this lap? Well, it might be at the next corner, actually, that her car is stranded. So we'll double check and look. It should be this next corner. If her car is still there, then we know we're not going to finish under safety car conditions. Race will be finished under safety car procedure. It's been confirmed. So there we go. Mattia Kolnagi is going to be the winner. Juan Cota is going to be second. Thomas Strauven is going to be third. Well, understandable. Maybe not the result that we all wanted. We wanted it to go under green flag conditions, but you don't always get what you want in life. What was it that Mick Jagger sang? You can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you might find you get what you need. And Mattia Kolnagi has done just that. They will tour around, pointlessly as it turns out, behind the safety car, but the race will finish under safety car proceedings. Chiara Balazzardi does not get the chance then to go for one final lap to push after Jan Bostrovsky. But Kolnagi gets the win and the 25 points that goes with it. Juan Cota will get 18 for second. Thomas Strauven will get 15 for third. Jan Bostrovsky will get 12 for fourth place. Chiara Balazzardi will get 10 for fifth position. Gladys will get 8 for sixth. Bigozzi will get 6 for seventh. Lucia will get 4 for 8th, 2 points for Peebles in 9th, and 1 point for Gabriel Gomez in 10th. Well, it's been a very tight battle. But it's been a very exciting run for Mattia Kolnagi. The Italian driver has been superb. Excellent display from him in this one. Took the lead, disappeared away from Strauven and Cota, let them battle over second position, and Cota definitely made a battle of it. What was a great overtake to move his way further forward. Excellent performance. And a really, really exciting display. I'm really intrigued to see Juan Cota next time out at Catalunya. He could take a few more wins off the championship contenders. He really has hit his stride since Valencia. But for the man up front in the Richard Mill Talent Academy colours, Mattia Kolnagi, the rookie driver, really has taken some big points off of Chiara Balazzardi. He will gain 15 on him in this race with a victory, 25 points. Chiara Balazzardi is going to come through for fifth place and 10 points. And so we'll lose 15 to him, but he will still hold the lead of the Drivers' Championship with 3 races to go at Catalunya. So as Mattia Kolnagi leads the train around in the hope that he will have no issues coming out of the final turn, he'll blast on the power just a little bit more, and Mattia Kolnagi will make it 2 wins out of 3 here at Jerez de la Frontera. Excellent run from Mattia Kolnagi. He makes it a second win. Cota second, Strauven third. Bostrovsky in fourth ahead of Balazzardi, Gladys, Igozzi, Flusha, Peebles and Gomez. So there we have it, folks. And that is obviously going to be a very interesting remainder of this battle. Let's point out the fact that obviously with this championship going down to sure why the internet decided I wasn't particularly welcome at that moment. Apologies there, folks. But obviously that means then that Chiano Alazzari has been able to gain a little bit of ground from race 2, but he's also lost a bit of ground from race 3. So as far as the championship is concerned, that definitely gives us an interesting showdown at the end of the season. So we're going to have some really exciting battles in the final 3 races of the year at the Circuit de Catalunya at Montmeló, just outside Barcelona, the home circuit of Spanish Formula 1 racing. So an interesting situation then for the contenders, and a really intriguing battle comes to an end here at Jerez, but it's Mattia Colnaghi that does the business. A great race and a great challenge. He makes his way into pit road, and it's his victory, and he can be very happy with it. Well, we had a dramatic start to the race. The whole schedule was thrown into disarray this morning by half an hour by the fog overhead at Jerez. And then we had a big accident on the start line involving Ernesto Rivera, Christian Cantu, and Maxi Restrepo. I can tell you that everybody is okay after that incident. But this man has done a great job. Juan Cota fighting his way past Thomas Strauven just before the safety car to get into second place. But he couldn't quite catch our race winner. There is Thomas Strauven, the Belgian. Third position for him. We can be very positive about that. But this man is a winner for the second time this weekend, and he takes the championship showdown to the wire at Catalunya next month in November. 2 race wins out of 3. And what an opportunity for the Italian youngster Mattia Colnaghi, rookie driver in Spanish F4 this year. Could he become a rookie champion? Excellent. Taps his watch. Timing. All about timing in this sport. And his timing was on point. 2 wins out of 3. Excellent job from Mattia Colnaghi. I know that Alex Garcia is going to want to get down there pretty quickly to have a word with our race winner. And the Italian driver obviously will have a lot of exciting things to say after a very smooth operation here at Jerez. Yesterday's race was a good one. Race 3, just as good, if not better. And his podium in race 2 means he's definitely hauled a decent chunk of points over the weekend to take this championship battle down to the wire. What an opportunity. Absolutely amazing. Here in the F4 Spanish Championship, Mattia Colnaghi takes the victory from Juan Cota and Thomas Strauven. Championship leader Chiano Alazzari all the way back in 5th position. Good points for the Polish drivers. Jan Piotrowski in 4th and Maciej Gladisz in 6th. James Zagotzi 7th, the Red Bull Junior. Then Lucas Flusha, Griffin Peebles and TC Racing's Gabriel Gomez will finish off the point scorers. Mattia Colnaghi looks as chilled and relaxed and laid back as I've ever seen him. You would not think that he's been sat in the car for almost an hour with this race very much underway, then stopped, then underway again, and he's managed it all like an absolute pro. Very good work indeed from Mattia Colnaghi. Good work from this man too, Thomas Strauven for the Rodin Motorsport team. They've not had many podiums in Spanish F4. Been a tough year for them, but Strauven has obviously proved his worth. He was a race winner earlier in the year, don't forget, at the season opener at Jarama, the former Spanish Grand Prix venue. They've gone to another former Spanish Grand Prix venue this time out here at Jerez. And of course now, they'll go from here 4 weeks from now to the current Spanish Formula 1 venue, Catalunya at Montmeló, just outside the city of Barcelona, the host of the 1992 Olympic Games. So excellent display and great work from the drivers down there in the pit lane. They've given us plenty of excitement and drama, but for all the right reasons up at the front end of the field. Strauven versus Cota was a really solid race battle. There is Alex Garcia with our race-winning man, Mattia Colnaghi.
Yes, Jake, we are here with the man of the weekend, without a doubt, Mattia Colnaghi, winner again in race 3 here in Spanish Formula 4. What a weekend, what a race 3. Talk us through it.
So we saved the 4 new tires for race 3. That's why in race 1 we were holding off the pressure from Juan, but this time we had the upper hand. We were able to just pull away in 5 seconds. Then in the end, unfortunately, there was a safety car, so my gap got closed down. But overall, can ask for much more. Fastest lap as well, so 1 point for that, and yeah, really good race.
So when you were saying in race 1 I did not have the best pace, it was not just because you didn't have the pace, it was all strategy, it was all prepared.
Was not prepared, but yeah, the idea was to get pole for race 3 and to save the tires for race 3. So I did get the pole in the end, and was good, yeah.
And now I have to ask you the question. Obviously the championship lead from Keanu is much lower now. Can you do it?
I think in the last rounds he's been feeling the pressure. We've been closing the gap consistently in the last few rounds, so yes, I think I can do it.
Congratulations, Mattia. Enjoy the win and enjoy the preparations for Barcelona.
Thank you very much.
So I think the words are clear. I can do it, he said it. Now we have it on record. So now it's time to see if he can actually bring the fight to the championship leader. But what he has said is absolutely the truth. Keanu Al-Azari has been feeling the pressure, and he has been seeing his championship lead dwindling and dwindling little by little over the last few rounds. So let's see what he manages to do in the last 3 races. But here's a very, very tricky rival to have in Barcelona.
He's got a very good point, and he makes it very well that, yes, the points have been coming down in terms of the championship lead. But what you have to remember, of course, is that he goes into the season finale at Catalunya, a track that Keanu Al-Azari has raced at. He does know the circuit very well. He's done a lot of mileage, both in the real world and on his iRacing FIA F4 simulator rig. He knows the track very well. Matti Kolnagi still coming at this championship finale as a rookie driver, but he's certainly proven in his rookie campaign that he has what it takes to soak up the pressure. It's going to be a fascinating head-to-head. And let's not forget that there's going to be a couple of drivers in that mix, like Maciej Gladish, Juan Cota, James Zagotzi, Jan Piotrowski. They're going to want to take points off them because they want to finish strong. It's going to be all about the percentage of numbers at the season finale.
Exactly, all these drivers are without a doubt the ones that could be the judges of this title-deciding event in Barcelona in just a few weeks' time. And if we have to go from what we've seen for the past couple of rounds, they are going to be a factor. Yes, for sure, Keanu Al-Azari is quick. Yes, Mattia Kolnagi is quick as well. But Juan Cota has been a standout in the last few rounds. Of course, Maciej Gladish has been there. Thomas Strauben. There's a few guys that when they feel comfortable, they can be as quick as anyone. And that, for a guy like Keanu Al-Azari, might be a blessing. You know, if there's other drivers taking points away from everyone else, that might reduce the risk. But all of that is all speculation, so we can only wait for a few weeks and see how they manage all that pressure, because waiting all of this time before the last round, I can tell you, Jake, it's never easy, because they're going to have to deal with all those thoughts in their minds. Am I going to be able to do it? Can I actually win it? We know one of the drivers says he can do it. I'm sure Keanu Al-Azari would say something similar.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating turn of events going down to the last races of the championship, but let's focus on how much is at stake when they get there. There's so many battles to come from the triple header at Catalunya. A lot of drivers want to finish off the season strong. They want to prove that all the hard work has been worth it. Do we think we could get a couple of rogue winners at Catalunya? Could the championship fight potentially become a subplot in what happens at Catalunya?
Without a doubt. At the end of the day, we know that this is just one of the stories of the championship. And if we have something like what we had in Valencia, we could have a new winner that can become a triple winner in one weekend. So we know that Spanish Formula 4 likes to throw curveballs like that. So, hey, I say, why not? That could absolutely happen.
Alex, thank you very much indeed for all your hard work this weekend. It's been a pleasure sharing the booth with you down there in the pit lane. Spanish F4 has been much the better for your presence. We'll see you next time out at Catalunya.
Thank you very much, Jake. Looking forward to it.
One final podium ceremony then as Thomas Strauben makes his way to the 3rd spot on the rostrum. 2nd place for Juan Cota. Good performance from him to pick up one more trophy from the weekend. But the man on the top spot, he's running to the podium. Mattia Kolnagi, absolutely delightful to watch him do such a great job. It is absolutely amazing. He's been an absolute star over the course of this weekend. Wonderful to see him put in so much hard work. Epic display. And I'm really, really delighted that he's been able to put himself into the best possible position now for the season finale. Just 3 races to go in Spanish F4 2024. And we are so excited about what that could mean for the man on the top step of the podium today. Mattia Kolnagi still chipping away at that points tally. It could still go his way. He knows it. So too does the championship leader, Keanu Alazari. So it's Thomas Strauben and Juan Cota that pick up the trophies for 3rd and for 2nd. But on the top spot, once again, it is the rookie driver, Mattia Kolnagi of Italy. And he gives himself the best possible chance to go for the championship title in Spanish F4 next time out, 4 weeks from now at Barcelona. What an opportunity it is for the Italian, for the KCL MP Motorsport team. Can he really do the job? There you are then, your race winner in Spanish F4 for the 3rd and final race of the weekend, Mattia Kolnagi. The championship showdown will be very soon indeed, 4 weeks from now when we head to the Circuit de Catalunya at Montmeló, just outside the city of Barcelona. Can Keanu Alazari take the title, or can the man on the top step of the podium twice out of 3 here at Jerez snatch it from him? The only way to find out is right here in 4 weeks' time. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Do not miss a moment of the Spanish F4 Championship. When we return, the title fight will go down to the wire for 3 more races as the boys here get busy with the fizzy. From Jake Sanson and Alex Garcia, thank you very much indeed for being with us. We'll see you 4 weeks from now at the Circuit de Catalunya. Bye for now.